A Few Goldilock Bears podcast with Vincent Cloud.
John Nemitz.
And Matt Hagen.
And here on the show, we can start with a segment called Deja Vu, where we talk about old stuff, old grievances, whatever. Does anyone
Wait,
have any
is
of
that the
those?
segment where we do our fulo ups?
Or your old previous bears? Actually, John, I asked you on the phone and you were just like, yes, I will do a recollection. I'm like, that's not what I asked. So do you have a fulo up?
Only that our buddy Drew gave me this oh my gosh.
Disappeared. He gave you an invisible shirt.
He gave you the cloak of Lord of the Rings.
Anyway, this is an Advent of Code shirt.
Oh yeah. Oh, my God.
Disappears when you have a virtual background. So thanks, Drew, for this magical item.
So Drew also participates in that?
He was the one who got me into it, but he's kind of been slacking the last year or two. I have to call him out for.
So he doesn't even place, is what you're saying?
No, he doesn't even do it.
No. All right.
He got a girlfriend, and then he's like, I don't have time for that kind of stuff anymore.
All right. Real quick for me, we talked about the bass at length, but I forgot the fuzz bass.
Go on.
Known in the what was it called? Radiohead's film exit music for a film, and then the Beatles Think for Yourself.
So you're saying you particularly like the fuzz bass?
It's just another aspect that I don't really hear too much of. Like the fuzz bass is just very rare to me. I don't know. Have you heard of other fuzz bassai? Whatever the plural form is.
Like, is that just bass with more distortion? Or I guess I'm not sure what you mean by that.
I think so. Yeah, I think it just, I don't know. Do you know what I'm talking about when I say fuzz bass?
I have heard the term, but I would have to hear it to kind of know what it is, I think. So I guess maybe that's how rare it is.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Okay, I'm glad I brought that up because I'm like, it's such a smaller part of the whole bass world. But anyways, now that we got that shit out of the way, we can start the actual show. Talk about our love, hate, and indifferences. Who wants to go first?
You.
I want to go first.
Yeah, you do.
My indifference. Let's talk about it, man. Tattoos. They're everywhere. Anyone can get them. It wasn't like it was once before where they're like, oh, he's done time, Or
in fact, you might have one and you don't even know it.
Oh shit, that's right. Yeah. I've seen some cool tattoos, but I've never wanted to get one myself because I'm like, I don't know anything that I would love so much to always see there. Like I don't appreciate scars, and that just seems like, give me a scar, pay people for a scar. I don't know. I've tried to think, like, if I could get a tattoo when I'm drunk, because a lot of people fucking get their first tattoos while they're drunk, and I think there's something wrong with that.
Well, yeah, like I think a lot of shops will not tattoo drunk people.
Yes.
Oh, really? Nowadays?
Yeah.
Oh shit! Wow.
It's funny you bring this topic up because tattoos is on my short list of indifferences too. I'd say it's like number 15 or so on my list right now. So I was going to get to it, but yes, indifference as well. I don't have a tattoo. I have also tried to think up, if I was to get a tattoo, what would it be? I've never come to a conclusion on that. Did you actually arrive at something, Vince? If you had to get one?
I was thinking maybe if anything I do love and I do enjoy seeing a lot, Bugs Bunny, maybe. But I don't want to be
the Big Chungus version.
Oh, I don't get that. What's that?
Oh, well, look it up later.
Oh, okay.
It's just fat Bugs Bunny, basically.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But my brother got a tattoo where I'm like, I want that, but I can't do it because it was an original thought of his. He got a tattoo on, I think, on his foot, his left foot, I think, like that, because our mom's signature, the same way on her paintings and all her artwork, she would always sign her name a certain way down at the lower right or whatever. And that's where he got his tattoo. I'm like, dude, that is so brilliant. That's so good. And calling yourself a masterpiece, like I just thought that was so good. And I did ask him, I'm like, dude, can I do that? And he's like, yeah, sure, but I'm not gonna. It's too good. Yeah.
That is the classy approach, right? You've got to consider a lot of stuff, and it does have to have a certain amount of class. Don't want any tramp stamps going on or anything like that. But John, do you have any tattoos?
I do not. I really like them on other people though. And it's literally what Vince said. I've just never had the idea like, oh, I've gotta get that inked on me. I am married to a person who has a couple tattoos. And I think they're pretty neat, but yeah, that's my closest to.
Would you say you like most tattoos that you see, or you're kind of 50-50 split on what you see?
I mean, yeah, I've seen some bad ones, but for the most part, I'm either neutral to liking them a lot. Like, like it like even crazy stuff like a face tattoo or something. I'm like, well, if that person has a career where that's okay and they want to do it, then good for them. Like,
see, that's where I end up drawing the line, is if you start going neck up, no way. That's I just don't get it. I don't understand why you would want that.
Matt, I want you to walk up to a Maui warrior and say that.
Yeah, check your privilege, Matt.
Yeah, I don't know. And then it does suck that like there'll be people who get something like their girlfriend or something, and then they have to cover that up, change that.
Oh yeah, that's always a classic.
What's the classic one I'm thinking of is Johnny Depp had Winona tattooed and then he changed it into Wino. That's classy right there. We're talking classy.
Oh my gosh. That lucky bastard had Winona. Anyways.
I knew someone who did like the wedding ring tattoo and then later was getting that removed.
Why don't they just cover it with another ring? So yeah, no any idea of like if you could tattoo, like I brought up Bugs Bunny. How about you guys? Any idea? You could have it removed immediately. It's fine.
I would put live, laugh, love right on my abdomen.
I'd probably go with the few Goldilock Bears logo, so they're prominent.
Right on your forehead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, that was tattoos. Next.
Well, since we're talking about appearances and the way we perceive physical appearance, I want to talk about mullets and how much I hate mullets. I don't understand this. I don't understand this at all. I didn't understand it back in, well, I didn't really know. I guess it really peaked in the late 80s, I think, but then they were very much around Billy Ray Cyrus, early 90s to the mid 90s. And I didn't understand it then. And I don't understand why it came around or how it came around again. Is it irony? Are we trying to be ironic? I mean, it can't be ironic if it's an actual fad anymore. I think that kind of defeats the purpose. But in my area, I live in Green Bay, the Green Bay, Wisconsin area. There are so many mullets. It's disturbing. I genuinely don't get it. And they're ugly. They're ugly as hell. Like there's guys that have the party in the back stuff going on. It's all kind of wavy and no. I don't. Yeah, I can't be the only one that hates mullets. Come on, guys.
I never see them. Like you see them, like if you went out today, you'd see people with mullets.
Yeah. Okay. So I dropped my kids off at wrestling practice today.
Oh,
We're
okay.
talking
Well,
second and
that's
third graders.
that's a key detail.
Well, no, it's not just kids. I see it on adults as well, but it's
Well, no,
really taken.
I was more referencing the wrestling aspect.
Oh, well, it's not just wrestling. It's actually a sports thing around here. So Denmark high school. I live in Denmark, Wisconsin. So Denmark. I think it started a couple years ago. They have a really good baseball team. It was some sort of a mullet, like a mullet, power mullet. So you're going to the playoffs, you grow out the power mullet and all that sort of stuff, and that just caught on. And all of a sudden, the second graders are all seeing the power mullet, and they want to grow the power mullet. And then the most popular second graders are getting the power mullet, and all the other kids want to copy the power mullet. So you guys genuinely don't see mullets? Because I was at wrestling practice today and there are so many mullets. I want mullets to end.
Hold on though. I actually had a mullet in my lifetime.
Was it an actual mullet?
I believe so. Yeah. I mean, well, wait, how do you define it? Because it's long in the back, right? And short on the top. Are you talking like it needs to be shaved or what?
No, just yeah. I mean, was it professional in front and party in the back? I mean, I guess that's kind of what defines it. But there are levels of mullet disgust in my brain. So
I think this is a qualifier. I think it's some subspecies of mullet that what I had going on. Yeah.
right.
But yeah, I mean, that's just like I remember uncles having mullets. Like I just it was that time, late 80s, so yeah. And
So
you
you
said
guys really you don't see any mullets out there out in the wild. You guys really aren't seeing this?
I saw one at a truck pull. And it was cool to see, yet I slightly felt a little less safe.
And maybe that's it. I would kind of laugh and kind of chuckle to myself if I saw one or a few, but then there are so many going on where I live. So I think maybe that's part of the problem.
Yeah, I'm
Again,
trying
it
to
goes
think
it goes beyond irony. It goes beyond irony at that point.
I may have seen one or two at the Minnesota State Fair when I used to go to that, but can't remember the last one I saw in real life.
I guess I am alone on this mullet hating thing, so that's okay. You can stay that way.
I'm not saying it looks good though. I do get what you're saying there. I'm trying to think. Like Theo Vaughn, he has a mullet right now. I think that's the most prominent person I know who has one.
Mhm.
So there's that, I suppose. But John, you and I, we got the length. We could
This
both
could be
get
a
mullets.
mullet very easily and quickly.
I encourage you to do it.
A few mullet bears. Moving on.
This mullet is two party in the front. This one is two business in the back.
Has anyone got the sideways mullet where it's just
Party on the left?
Now that's a
awesome.
fun twist. I like that.
But then that's kind of like when they had the old like the vaudeville character where it's like the man with the mustache on one side and then like the women with the dress on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Terrific. Well,
John Nemitz.
All right, let's talk about video game speedrunning. Now, first off, I will say I'm not really a fan of like esports. So like if it's like a tournament of people playing like first person shooters or Rocket League or Smash Brothers or that kind of stuff, it's not super interesting to me. But I really like speed running, which is where you just take a game and you try like, it's usually a single player, just, you just versus the game, basically just trying to beat it as quickly as possible. And typically there's different categories for each game you want to play. So, like one category might be like a glitchless category where, like you're pretty much playing as the developers intended, but just, as good as a human being can do that. And then you'll have like anything goes categories where like, you can break the game, you can clip through walls, you can do skips. There's certain ones where like Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo, they can beat in like a minute and a half because they can set up like basically like a bug that's called arbitrary code execution, which is you set up memory to really be like game code, and then you like execute a glitch to jump to that memory, and then all of a sudden you're at like the credit screen as though you beat the game. But they do it by just like moving like shells and Yoshis and items around in a certain area and just keeping track in their brain like what that's doing to the memory of the game. Like it's insane. But this week, I've had this one on my list for a while, and then this week happens to be this convention, I guess you'd call it, called Awesome Games Done Quick, which is the biggest video game speedrunning event that there is. And they do it twice a year, and they'll typically raise like $2 to $3 million for some sort of charity over a week just by people donating who are watching the event and stuff. So, and there's like just the practice of video game speedrunning is really tied to charity and stuff. Like there's always fundraising events, and from that aspect is pretty cool.
Awesome.
I'm glad you brought up the different categories, because I would say I'm fairly indifferent to all this sort of stuff. But what I just don't enjoy watching, it's like a minor curiosity, is like the glitch speedrunning. I don't care for that. There's no entertainment value in watching any of that. Like, and also like I'm not really interested in watching a speedrun for a game that I've never played before. It just really doesn't interest me. And I don't play a whole lot of games. So I really need to see a game that I've played before I'm actually interested. But then a lot of them are just the glitch speedruns, and I just throw my hands up because I don't know what to do with this, because I'm not interested in this. So you kind of got me peaked. You got my interest peaked on this. So I kind of checked up on like Fallout 3 speedruns, but then they're all kind of this glitch based stuff. And that didn't really interest me at all. One thing that was interesting that I saw a Portal speed run, which Portal is really freaking cool because you have no idea what's going on. Just people blasting portals here and there and making their way. Like that is just ripe for a speed run. And that's good stuff, Portal. But yeah, I love, I've seen Mario Brothers speed runs and stuff like that. And that's all cool because I love the actual challenge of it, of playing the game the way it's meant to be played. So there's some love and some hate there. What do you think, Vince?
I checked out that Twitch, the thing, that whole thing that was going on, and right away they were doing SSX Tricky. I was like, oh shit, that's awesome. But again, it's like I was there I didn't want to see the glitch thing. That sucked because the one guy, he kept on like running into a pillar. And so we restart it, and apparently you could do that. You can like, can you submit your attempts and then just be part of that show, or what?
No. So like basically this event is all live. So, if you mess up, you just keep trying until you get it.
Oh, okay.
But the clock is running the whole time. So, like in normal, like if you were doing like a world record attempt or something and you messed up, you would just reset the game and start over, restart the clock and go from zero. With this event, you essentially like whatever happens counts, and the clock just keeps ticking, and you keep trying until you get past that part.
Okay. Yeah, because I think they have some commentators, and they were like, oh, this person, because they kept on hitting the pillar and then they'd have to restart, and he got it in like 3 tries. And the guy's like, that's really impressive because it's usually like 10 or something like that. I'm like, oh, all right. So
yeah.
Interesting.
So in this particular case, he hit a pillar and then it kind of warped him somewhere, or what was going on?
Yes, it sent him like halfway across the map or something like that
Mm.
because he fell through or something like that. And it's cool. I never seen that, and some of the stuff that video gamers put in there as Easter eggs, like a little pathway, that's cool to see, especially with that game, because I really like that game growing up.
Mm.
Hey, man.
Yeah, I tuned into that event too. I just wanted to see what it was, and somebody was playing Crash Bandicoot 3 or something like that, which I had never played before. I watched that for a few minutes. I'm like, yeah, this person's really good at this game. I've never played it. I really don't care. And then I kind of tuned in somebody else playing some other game. I forget, but I kind of looked at the schedule and I don't know. It really didn't interest me much. So, pretty indifferent. Pretty indifferent.
John, is there a game that you're like, hey man, sign me up? I compete in Advent of Code. I'm also going to compete in this and get the exact same place, 7,000 and whatever.
Well, yeah, I probably have that for like the original Mega Man for NES.
Really?
Oh,
shit.
I kind of learned the glitchless speedrun because I tend to agree with you guys that like I that's what's more interesting to me and more fun for me. And I think like I never actually submitted. I think I got my time down to, what would have been around 100th place or something on the leaderboards. Like nothing super impressive. There was a different game that it was not very well known that I actually had a world record in for a certain amount of time, not very long, like a week or something, in one of the categories called Lena's Inception, which is kind of like a Zelda-like game, but with like randomization aspects. So like every time you start a new game, the world map is completely different. The order you get items in is completely different. So that in a sense was different from, just memorizing like a map and just getting really good at it. It was more like having to be able to improvise and like, okay, well, if I get this first, then I got to go here next. And, just kind of reacting to things as they're happening, which that was a lot of fun for me.
I think if I were to try, it would be Hydro Thunder. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that game at
No,
all.
I don't know that at all.
I'm not much of a gamer, but when I find something that I'm good at, I'm like, okay, I'll just play this till I'm fucking exhausted, And believe me when I say this, I was undefeated. I would challenge people like, hey, fucking play me. I'm really good at this. And they're like, okay, dude, and I would beat family, friends, I think I even challenged a girl on a date. I was like, hey, fucking.
Did you have a second date?
Yes, but years later. What about you, Matt? Is there a game you're like, hey, give me a chance to? No,
I'm pretty terrible at video games. Like back in the day, like Super Mario World on the SNES, I was really good at. I beat that game a ton of times. I wouldn't say it was speedrun type stuff, but I guess I would say I was good at that. But no, I'm pretty terrible at video games in general.
Jeez.
I like to stay in my bubble. This is a topic for a different day. Forget it. I like to stay in my single player bubble where I think I'm cool and I think I'm good, but I know I'm not good.
Moving on. Set up. Me, I think.
You.
Oh
Yeah.
shit. Okay. All right. Fuck. All right. Let's get into the. I am passionless right now. I don't even know. Love or hate?
Passionless.
You guys pick love or hate. Which one?
Oh boy.
Love.
50-50. Hey. Oh okay. Love.
Oh no.
All right, we'll do love. Chinese food, or I'm thinking maybe it should be called Asian cuisine. I'm not really sure. I know that.
Well, it depends on how specific you're trying to be.
And how racist you're trying to be.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I have a couple of questions though, because I went to a place that was distinctly Chinese because it was called The Wall here in Eau Claire. But anyways, I don't know. It was just I love how it tastes. It's given me one of my great loves is crab rangoon. But I wouldn't just single that out because like how long can you talk about crab rangoon? But you know, lo mein. Whenever
Let's find out.
moving on.
I talked about pumpkin pie for a while, so go ahead.
No. Whenever my family would show up, you know, they're like, "Hey, let's grab lunch." And where do you want to go? It would always be fucking somewhere with some Chinese food. So that's good. I kind of tie that food in with hanging out with family and stuff, which is nice. I don't give a damn about the Madison Square Garden, the MSG and the food. I don't even I don't even get it. Is it bad for you? I just know it's very good. It tastes very good.
It's one of those
And
things where I think some people have like allergic reactions to them and get like
oh,
headaches and stuff. But then like for most people, it's perfectly fine.
those poor sons of bitches. I feel really bad. Although you can take that MSG out, I'm sure. I mean, it has to still taste good, right? Chinese food without it.
Yeah.
And then, but another fun part of eating at the wall was there was a little dish there that stood out to me called Mongolian beef. And I was thinking, I was like, did the Mongolians like wage war on the Chinese at that wall? And then I'm like, well, then were the Chinese like, well, fuck you guys, we're taking your beef, you know? Or is this food what they came up with as a
This is what
reminder?
America came up with.
As a reminder that they were like, hey, we got beef with those Mongolians.
Oh man, I didn't know you were gonna go there because I was gonna make that joke. Damn it.
Oh, nice, man. You hit it. That's for a good transition.
Oh my side. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
I also love Chinese food, although I gotta say, like a pure American Chinese buffet type place, I have not been to one in a long time, but I do love Chinese food. I don't think we really have a really good one in Green Bay. Maybe I'm wrong. But I enjoy call it Asian cuisine because I enjoy the Mongolian grill aspect of some of these places. Love getting a good stir fry going. But the MSG thing, like I've stumbled upon, discussions about MSG on Reddit and such. And yeah, MSG apparently is perfectly fine for you. I don't know what kind of campaign was started, some anti-MSG campaign. I don't know that I can pick MSG out versus salt or whatever, but yeah, MSG is perfectly fine. And if that's what makes it good, that's what makes it good. I'll eat it.
You know who started that vicious smear campaign? Madison Square Garden.
They're like, I want to be the only MSG around, or what?
Yeah. John, I know that you.
Oh yeah, I love it. In fact, we had a very small wedding, and we actually just went to a Chinese buffet for the reception afterwards. Like, took everyone there, and you would know if you had shown up.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you just did that.
I was there.
Come on.
But yeah, like I don't go to the buffet too often anymore, but there's a lot of just kind of sit down restaurants around that have really good food. And Twin Cities has great Chinese food, a lot of good Vietnamese food, Thai food, like all kinds of stuff that I never even knew existed in our small town upbringing.
Yeah. I've been to a couple like sit down Chinese places, and I always kind of feel like I'm getting gypped. Like I want the whole buffet experience. I don't want to sit down and just order one thing. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah. And that I was thinking of saying Chinese food buffets specifically. There's something about a buffet that I enjoy anyways, but Country Woods, what was it called? Country Buffet, Old Country Buffet has got nothing.
OCB.
Got nothing though on a Chinese buffet. If they were to add Chinese food with whatever else that they're serving that day, yeah, all right, cool.
Just something about that Chinese mix going on. Yeah, like yeah, and there's something to be said too. Like people might poo-poo American Chinese food, but maybe I'm going out on a limb, but Americans know how to do food right. Like it's like the cultural melting pot. You take this aspect of Chinese food and meld it with this, and then you get this sometimes too sweet but salty awesomeness with this great sauce and Tex-Mex and pizza and everything. Like America knows what it's doing when it comes to melting cuisine together.
John, you said that you were like, oh, I also eat like Vietnamese and stuff like that. So, out of all the Asian cuisines, and you too, Matt, you've eaten at other places, I'm sure. Does the Chinese beat out all the other Asian cuisines?
If I had to pick one, I'd probably go with Thai food. But
Yeah.
or if you count Indian, the subcontinent, I might go with Indian food over any of those two.
See, I need to go to more Indian places because every time I've had some sort of Indian food, I mean, curries. I mean, I love curry and whatnot, and I've had various curries and they're all delicious. So I really would like to get more Indian food, but I kind of have to agree with Thai food. But I've only really eaten at a Thai restaurant just a couple times in my life, but it's always delicious. So I think I agree.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what types of different Asian cuisines that I've had. But we got ourselves one of them Panda Expresses just down the road.
I'm sure
I've
it's
actually
delicious.
I've been to China before.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Shanghai, and I gotta say it's pretty much just like Panda Express.
But I have to I think I've talked with you about the Chinese food, the authentic Chinese food that you had, but I'm kind of forgetting how the conversation went. So do you love the traditional Chinese food, or do you like the Americanized version of it?
I mean, I like them both. The food I had there was amazing. With the exception of this thing they called stinky tofu, which like it's a thing that they get foreigners to try, I think. And I'm like, do you guys like this? And I'm like, no. My dad likes it, like, that kind of thing. But no, like yeah, definitely you can tell like ours is more sugary and more salty. But like at its core, you can kind of see what they're going for. But like when you go to different countries, like Chinese food in Germany is different from Chinese food in like America, and like they're all different from each other, and of course like different from authentic Chinese food as well. So that is always something that's interesting to me to like, because every country I've been to has Chinese food, and it's always it always has its own flair, which I enjoy a lot.
I guess just off the top of my head, like General Tso's chicken, like that is not a thing at all in China, right? Like there's no even semblance of General Tso's chicken in China, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like, and like there are different regions, and like they all have their local things, but I think typically the more sugar there is on something, the more you can bet it's something made up over here.
So someone made up a totally fabricated a war hero. I imagine you were.
Oh, I think there's a whole story about where General Tso's chicken started from. But yeah, the way it took off, man, whew, forget about it.
All right. Well, moving on.
No, for real, forget about it. I'll go. Let's see. Indifference or love?
Love.
Okay, love it is. What is my love? Oh yeah, I love diet soda. I love diet soda, which I don't know how controversial this is, really. I'll say I love soda in the framework of I'm pretty indifferent to regular soda. I've had well, as a kid, I had so many different types of soda, and ranging from your Mountain Dews to your regular Coca-Cola. Every time I drink a sugary soda, like a real sugar soda, well, not even real sugar soda, corn syrup, but I always feel like I get this film on my teeth. It makes my mouth feel gross. I don't know if everybody's getting this, or I have sensitive teeth, or or what. Just based on the mouthfeel alone, sugar soda just doesn't work for me. Even though I do sometimes have some sugar soda every now and then, if kind of that's the only option. But diet soda, somehow we live in this futuristic world where we can enjoy the taste of a diet Coke or a diet something or another, and there's 0 calories, baby. Zero. Yeah, I said zero. I yeah, am I
Wait, there's like a few calories, right?
no. Diet Coke, there's zero. Diet Mountain Dew, zero. Zero, John. Are you getting this? So is it possible I'm gonna develop cancer earlier than I probably should because of this diet soda? Yeah, maybe, but it's good and there's no calories.
But like, how many fluid ounces of diet soda are you drinking on a daily basis?
Well, that's my thing too. I mean, everything in moderation, right? So ever since I was a kid, my mom always said you could have one soda a day. It was always one soda a day. And I stuck to that. And I still kind of stick to that. I only really have, I mean, I can go a week without having a single soda, but whenever I have a soda, even though I'm drinking it, I'm like, boy, I feel like I could drink 3 of these. I only have one, but I love getting that little caffeine fix that I have. Well, that's a whole other discussion, but I love getting that little caffeine fix that I want, that I need in the afternoon from diet soda. And I love diet soda in mixers if I'm making mixers. And again, how far have we come where we can have 0 calorie sugar, quote unquote, sugary drinks? Because I don't know, apparently some people get like a nasty aftertaste from the fake sugars, which
Yeah,
I
so
don't get
there
that.
we go. I'll go so far as to say diet soda is a hate for me.
Here we go. Come on, bring it on.
Like, I can immediately tell if like a candy or a pop or whatever has aspartame in it. And I'm like, well, this tastes okay while you're drinking it, but then it just tastes horrible afterwards. And like that goes for like aspartame or even that like stevia or whatever, which is supposed to be more natural or whatever. Like that just has a horrible aftertaste. Like I'm pretty neutral to like corn syrup soda. um I don't really drink it. Like maybe a couple times a month I'll have a soda or something, but like I have no interest in diet soda. It just tastes gross to me because of the aftertaste.
Yeah, same here about the the aftertaste. Um yeah, I don't know. It's too bad, Matt, that you get that film on your teeth, you know?
So you get
Oh no,
you get
I definitely know what you're talking about with the film, like it, but that doesn't bother me. But yeah, I remember like you go to the dentist and you get your teeth all cleaned. I'm like, I'm gonna have a Coke and just get like a nice layer of fuzz put on my teeth again.
so two-thirds of us get an aftertaste from diet soda. This is blowing my mind. I thought this was a rare thing, but here we are.
And
Like, this is a great representation of America right here.
and
Two-thirds of Americans.
I also I don't get the film. So there's that as well.
Hmm.
So are you a soda drinker, a pop drinker, Vince?
I've finally cut down on my energy drink intake. Um and soda is fine. I think if I reach for something, it's like a Coke, maybe, and that's about it. just a Coke. Although I do appreciate other sodas, but yeah, I don't know.
I just had a random thought. I just said soda and pop, and I seem to remember, let's see, like sixth grade or something like that. I forget which class it was, but you had to answer a question. And I remember I wrote soda, and then I got it wrong because the teacher expected me to write pop.
Wow.
Apparently soda means like a diet soda. Like I think so. I like
Or maybe
in
like
that
club
teacher's
soda
brain.
or something like that.
Well, maybe. It's always kind of bothered me though that I got it wrong for
Yeah,
writing
that's
soda.
BS.
Who was it? Who was it, Matt? Who was the
Yeah.
teacher?
I totally forget, but
Did
Call
she
them
touch
out.
you?
Call them
show me on the doll.
out.
But I'm surprised to hear you both have the aftertaste and you both hate diet soda because
Oh yeah, or like even like Altoids have aspartame in them now, and I don't like them anymore.
wow. So actually this was going to be kind of one of my things too. Like, why aren't there more things with artificial sweeteners? Not that I want more artificial sweetener. It's just, if I want a piece of candy and I can have a 0-calorie piece of candy, I would prefer to have that, at least have that option. So you really don't see a lot of maybe any really sugar-free candy out there. It's a very niche thing.
Yeah, I think it's like a small section. That
Oh,
reminds
it
me
already
though.
exists.
Yeah, I was at speaking of buffets, I was at a casino buffet in southern Minnesota one time, and they had a dessert section, and one of them just had a sign on it, which I assume means it was like sugar free or something, but it just said diabetes on it.
What?
Yeah. They're like, there's only one reason somebody would want a sugar-free dessert, and we know what that reason is.
That's funny. Ah, shit.
Oh
Well,
man. So so did you have to do a double take on that sign, and did you really rack your
Oh
brain
yeah,
as to what
yeah. It took me a little
really?
bit. I'm like, what is going on here?
I don't
wait, and do you
understand.
and is that how you pronounce diabetes as diabetes?
Diabetes. That's only from the Wilford
Wilford.
Brimley
Yeah.
commercials. I honestly, because of that, I don't even know the correct way to pronounce it. All I
Moving
know is
on.
that we can diabeat it.
Oh, that's our cue. Go ahead.
Well, who's next?
Is it
I
me
think it's
now?
John. Yeah, yeah.
All right. I hate the way that human psychology is weaponized against us, particularly by people advertising and selling us things.
Holy shit, we're getting heavy, folks.
So, as we all know and agree, free will is an illusion, and our human minds don't come with any sort of user manual. So, there's people who have kind of like figured out the way people think and like what kind of tricks you can use to get people to do what you want, and then there's like us who we're just like walking around trying to do our best, and we're being manipulated by these things. And like the worst part is like knowing some of the tricks doesn't make them any less effective either. And like uh, um my car that I've been driving for a decade and a half broke down to the point where I had to get rid of it, and I had to go get a new car, and I don't want to buy a new car. And it's just like I go into the used car lot, like here's something like I do once every 15 years, going up against someone who's like selling cars all day every day, and like I don't stand a chance to like not be screwed over here. Like but it's just like that with everything, like TV commercials, how they manipulate you, and just everything.
So when you're talking about psychology, do you have specific points? Like, I mean, you're talking about a car salesman. Like are you
Yeah, like
talking about
so
just
like things
sales
like the
tactics?
the sense of urgency. Yeah, like sales tactics is one, or like here's a benign example, and but like like the colors in a fast food restaurant are bright primary colors or whatever because it just kind of encourages people to not want to be there. Or like in casinos not having clocks anywhere because they know if people can see what time it is, they'll probably be more likely to leave earlier, and just all that kind of stuff.
It's all playing the odds, right? It's all about statistics, and that's the capitalistic world that we're living in. It's all about getting some leg up on some competitor. And I mean, you brought up we don't have a manual for the way our brains work. I think that's a really good book idea, actually. I don't know if that exists, but
to write that manual.
Yeah, to write that manual. I think that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I agree. It does suck to, and you're totally right. Like even though like all three of us here are very intelligent people, like, and we know.
Thanks, bud. You didn't have to do that.
Best compliment you're gonna get, bud. We all know the sales tactics and whatnot, but we all fall for it, and it's really, really true. But like you brought up the buying the car example, like the past couple times I've gone in to buy a car, I have legitimately made it a point in my brain, just stay conscious that you're being manipulated. These people are just trying to get they're right here, right now. They're trying to get you to buy a car. They don't want you to wait. They don't want you to sleep on it. They want you to buy a car right now. So I've made it a point to push back on sales tactics. Like, but you have to be actively thinking about it. And that's kind of what sucks about it. But if you just let your mind slip, who the hell knows what's going to happen? What do you think, Vince?
You guys covered everything there's to say about anything right there. Well, like, I don't know, like the commercials, and now they're done with like this truly uplifting music, and it's like, buy a camera because you never know when you're not going to be able to take a picture of your family or something like that. You're like, what the fuck? That was about that. There's that, and yeah, I didn't realize you were going to jump into like everything about like how I think McDonald's actually the yellow and the red, something, one of those colors actually makes you hungrier. Yeah. Oh, and then in grocery stores, they almost always play very slow music so that all of a sudden you're taking your time through all the aisles, you're looking at all the stuff, Yeah, it's interesting.
Oh, yeah, I like the way they arrange the aisles too. I think like they make you go to the back of the store for the stuff that you probably went there for.
The milk and eggs and bread are all in the back corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is all totally legit. It just kind of sucks. Like there's, it sucks that there's so many scientists out there that I'm sure have big aspirations, but end up working for these Fortune 500 companies and are stuck, analyzing data about how we can make people slow down in a grocery store and take their time and therefore buy more shit. I think that's just the world that we're living in.
Yeah, I mean, and we haven't even gotten into like social media and like how they figured out that hate makes you browse longer than things you actually like.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is why 1/3 of our podcast is hate.
Without social media, this would be the love show.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I can't add anything. Should we move on?
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you?
I feel like that subject was huge, John. I didn't know how to approach it. I'm like, oh.
Well, yeah, it's like count on John to bring up human psychology, because John, I'm glad he's doing it. I'm glad he's bringing up all these thoughtful loves and hates, they're mostly hates. We all hate the way the human brain works, apparently. But thank you for bringing this stuff up, because these are big, important subjects, and really we should be spending so much more time on this stuff instead of just a throwaway.
Well, let's go back to mullets.
Yeah, let's go back to mullets.
Okay.
But I think it's definitely one of those things where we can revisit again and again, and we're going to talk about different topics, but it's all going to kind of lead into kind of the same core ideas a lot of times. But go ahead, Vince.
Well, mine, the human brain hates, I hate a man called Dana White. This is a man who understands manipulation. He has lived it for a very long time. He has commanded, he's the president of the UFC. He has commanded, athletic killers to do things for very little pay. That's a big thing now, especially finally these past 2 years. They've been saying like, hey, what about fighter pay? Although that's been brought up ever since I started watching, but it's just because the UFC wants to be more like a NFL now. They want to be taken seriously, which they could, but this Dana White character is getting in the way for a lot of it. He does not pay fighters shit. It's like 10 grand to show and make weight at the minimum, and then 10 grand if you win. And you go in the fight and you could win, but how much do the hospital bills cost? Because you're going to get hit no matter what. Yeah, exactly. And then you also have to train. You have to get your coaches there, because they only pay for one coach, but you always see people with 3 coaches. I could go on and on about that sort of stuff. But when you bring this up, who's going to bring it up? It's going to be the press, right? He fucking despises the MMA press. Ariel Helwani and him have this gigantic feud where Dana White has gone out of his way to just rip this guy apart and say, oh, this guy's a scumbag and shit, when really all this dude is asking these questions like, hey, what about this pay? What about the athletic, the testing, USADA for steroids and shit like that, and he just hates it. He's very much like Donald Trump. In fact, he's good buddies with him. For years, people were like, hey, what about women fighting in the UFC? And he's like, no, just so fucking like, don't be silly and shit like that. He eventually
aren't there women that fight in the UFC?
Now there is, yes. But
okay.
When he was asked years ago, he was he was a piece of shit. And then I've been meaning to bring this up about the white privilege in the UFC. But really, this stems from him. He likes to promote any white guy who wins, because this UFC was built on Latinos, Hispanics, Mexicans, like that. That is what the company's all about.
That's the bread and butter, baby.
Yes. And then as soon as some white guy wins, fucking Dana White's, oh my god, this is the future. Like he's like, America, don't get behind certain types of people or whatever. I don't. Oh God,
it's that whole whitewashing thing. It's not just a UFC thing. It's why Tom Cruise is in a movie about China. Whatever the hell that movie was, the last samurai.
That's Japan too, isn't it?
Samurai Japan. Yeah, Japan. So, that's whitewashing. And, when it comes right down to it, that's what makes money. If you realize your demographic is 75% white, 85% white, whatever the hell that number is, and even though almost all those people will say we're not racist, and maybe it's not even a racist thing at all. It's just you identify more with white people, right? So,
I
and
know I do.
UFC's and UFC's about telling stories, in, it's not like WWE where you're manufacturing drama, or is it? I don't know enough about it. Maybe there is some of that going on, but it's about telling stories. And if your audience is white, they're going to identify more with white people. It's all about money. It's all about money. That's what it comes down to. But having said that, so the way to fix some of these problems is unionizing, right? So you talk about the NFL, the
Ooh, he
NBA,
shut that
whatever.
down several
Well,
times.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's the discussion that needs to be had. So it sounds like this is a king sitting on his throne, throwing jabs at everybody. Any sort of confrontation that comes up about unionizing, or whether it's health insurance or whatever the hell it is, he's going to push back on it. And that's just not the way a lot of things work. That's how change happens. That's how revolution happens. And UFC's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and he's going to get more and more pushback. Now, having said all that, I know nothing about the UFC, so maybe everything I said is complete bullshit, but that's just the way things work.
Okay, but again, with the, he not only does he promote the white people more, but he also, this is where the what do you call it, refs being bought off comes in, or the judges, right? Fucking this some British Conor McGregor wannabe dude goes into this fight, and he clearly didn't win the fight, but they went the distance. So then on all the scorecards, they could be like, well, he actually won. And it's full of controversy, but then it's just like, but that's all that matters. When people look at whether you won or lost, that's all they see, but they won't say like, oh, it's controversial because he actually lost. These people are pushing them further. They're getting more title shots and shit like that. So okay, but anyways, he's growing his brand. He has a power slap, Dana White's power slap, where
Slap?
you ever seen this slap? Yeah,
like the slap heard around the world.
bam, yeah.
So like, he's gonna, Will Smith is gonna owe him some money.
Is it
Oh,
is it like Donald Trump's fake news? Like he just brings the power slap out whenever he doesn't agree with anything?
no, it's a sport, a ridiculous sport.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know
where
what this
people
is.
stand on either, across from each other, and you just have to stand there with your hands down, and you get slapped as hard as the opponent can to you, and you guys do this like exchange. I don't know how many, but people get knocked out. People, like serious fucking shit. And Dana White's always been like, "Oh, we're looking out for the health of the fighters and stuff," and people are like, "This is strictly non-defensive, just blunt trauma that you're promoting here. That's what's going to happen," right? And then a little bow on top of it, on New Year's Eve for 2023, there was a video of him getting into a physical altercation with his wife at a nightclub, where he proceeded to slap her a couple times. And a lot of people have been quiet. ESPN, who they have a deal with UFC, and then all these other WME, Endeavor, there's all these gigantic companies, but they're not saying shit. And some fighters have said stuff, but not a lot. And the people that he's helped, like Sean O'Malley, is like, "Oh, bitch had it coming." You know what I mean? Like, he's defending Dana White. And Dana White did say like, "Oh, there's no excuses. We were drunk, but that's no excuse, and we've, whatever." But I don't know. I hate this man, and I don't think anything's gonna happen. Power slap got moved, like delayed by 1 week. That's it. Dana White's power slap. Everyone sees this video of him slapping his wife, and they're still gonna put that on TBS. Fuck. You guys.
Wow.
So on.
that's a one-off event, this power slap,
No,
and he's
it's a
running
whole
this
new
event?
it's a whole new sport and show. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's like a weekly show, monthly show, or whatever.
No
It's like a
idea.
pay-per-view. Okay, so he was in charge of this new endeavor, this power slap thing, which, to be honest with you, I find that kind of entertaining. Like I've seen some videos of that, like that. Is that person gonna pass out? Like, I mean, there's just something primal about that. That's kind of nuts. So so he was running this new endeavor, and they delayed it a week because of the whole slapping thing. And I did see the slapping video. That was on Reddit. I saw a couple things on Reddit about that, but yeah, that is a story that did not get the traction that it should have gotten, for sure. For sure. And I mean, this could turn into a whole big discussion about how the media manipulates what you see. I mean, we could go in that direction, but John can talk.
Do you ever see John Oliver on Last Week Tonight? He had a couple segments about Dana White.
No, I haven't.
Like, this was a couple of years ago already, so I don't remember exactly, but I remember him like making fun of Fight Island and different stuff. But yeah, that's been kind of an ongoing thing, I believe. John Oliver calling him out on stuff.
I actually forgot that part. When the pandemic hit and there was no sports, Dana White was like, "I will be the man to bring fights and entertain America. You know, I will be the one." So that's why he did the Fight Island. Although before that, he was going to have it on some Indian reservation in Florida or somewhere south. You know, even the natives in the South are fucked up. But Disney, who ESPN and Disney are part of the, god damn it, all these fucking companies. But they were
It's
like,
all
Dana,
owned by Disney. Yeah.
yeah, they were like, Dana White, don't do that. And so he's like, okay, fine, I'm gonna find an island and shit like that. So yeah, so when the pandemic was going on, UFC really were the only sport that was going on and stuff. And yeah, I don't know. Oh shit.
You're exhausted on this. It's an important thing, and it's going to be fascinating to watch how things progress. And isn't there, I mean, so many of these people in power are gigantic hypocrites, but isn't there even, quotes of Dana White talking about hitting women and stuff like that, and how if any of our fighters abuse women, they're going to get kicked out or something like this. But it's pretty comical to see all the hypocrisy that comes from so many of the things in the world that we're living in now. And is anybody feeling the repercussions of this stuff? No, not really. Not really. Not when you have money, not when you have Disney on your side.
Yeah, and I think the ugliest thing that has happened since this happened, people on comments and shit are like, well, did you see the video? She hit him first. Once that happens, equality, huh? Well, here it comes. It's really just like very disturbing. I'm very yeah, the whole thing. Like I think I might even have forgotten some stuff. I just haven't written it down. But yeah, there's a lot of shit so horrible about that man. And I remember I went to go see the UFC live, and we randomly were like invited to like, hey, take pictures in the octagon. I'm like, oh shit, all right. And I'm waiting in line, and I'm seeing Dana White taking pictures with fans, and I was like, I don't want to take a picture with him. Like, I don't want to be anywhere near him. Like, it made my skin crawl.
Oh, he's the Rob McElhenney of the sports world for you, Vince.
But Dana White can act. I don't get it. Oh,
that Dana White.
Oh, my knees are getting slapped today, boys. Well, now what? Moving on. Yeah.
Moving on. I'm going to try to keep this under a few hours. So my indifference is the TV show The Office. I talked last week about Parks. I talked last week about Parks and Rec. I didn't want to double up. Vince is against doubling up, so I moved The Office to the following week. And I think the trajectory of the shows, Parks and Rec and The Office, kind of follow a similar pattern, where the first season isn't great. They're trying to find their footing. Second season is picking up a little bit of steam, and then it really takes off. Third season. At least that's what I think, because I never made it past the second season. Probably about halfway through the second season. I did not feel the need to continue with The Office. There are too many other good shows to watch. I didn't really see the point. I dislike Michael Scott as a character. I love Steve Carell, dislike Michael Scott. And I don't know, where Parks and Rec just kind of had this wholesomeness to it. I didn't get that with The Office. Not that I'm a wholesome guy or I need wholesomeness or whatever, but just something with The Office didn't click with me. And to see it take off in pop culture the way it has after the show was finished is incredible. Like there's certain shows that are comfort food out there. Seinfeld, Friends, and The Office. Like in the past 30 years, those are the comfort food shows. I don't think there's any argument with those three shows. So I've kind of meant to go back and revisit it, but I haven't. And what do you guys think? What do you guys think of The Office?
I definitely like The Office. Definitely way closer to love than hate. My wife loves The Office, and it's on all the time. So I've probably seen every episode at least 3 times by now. It's definitely not, it's not wholesome, or it's not a feel-good show like Parks and Rec, and like it has its moments, but it's much more like a cringe show, kind of like a Ben Stiller movie kind of vibe.
And that's kind of what's funny about it too, because I love a lot of cringe comedy, like not necessarily pure comedies, but watching a dark comedy, like watching a dark drama that has its comedic moments, like those cringy, uncomfortable moments. I really dig that stuff, and there is some of that stuff in The Office. It's just doesn't hit right for me.
I will say, like, right about where you give up is right before Michael Scott's character changes a bit. Like, he's always kind of a dick. Like, he's very selfish. Like, he's always going to choose the option that is, what he wants, and he doesn't care that much. But they just change him in slight ways where, like, he becomes, at least, like, for all his flaws, he becomes competent at some things in the job. So you're not just sitting there wondering all the time, like, how does he even work here still? And like, there are moments where there's like, where he actually does, like, the nice thing for someone. And whereas in like the first season and the beginning of the second season, it's really just him being horrible all the time. It definitely peaks towards the middle, like, because like when he leaves, the show does get worse. Like, he, as like, they have to they bring in different characters to be the boss for a while, and they kind of change some of the existing characters to try and make up for him not being there. So, like, even if you don't like him, you'll miss him when he's gone. I would say.
Did you watch the British Office? Anyone?
I saw a few episodes. I want to say 2 or 3 episodes of the original, and I disliked that one quite a bit. I like Ricky Gervais in doses, but that's like the U.S. Office with how much of a dick Michael Scott is. And like, it takes it to this whole other level. Like, he's just this incompetent buffoon.
Well, yeah, because like with the British one, like, they were only ever planning on being like 1 or 2 seasons or whatever it is. So it was okay if you never liked him, because they weren't trying to convince you to watch the show for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then well, I watched the first season and then the second, and but the third, that's when they bring in the extra cast, the duplicates, right? With like Andy and stuff like that.
Yeah, that could be.
Okay,
And your
but
favorite, Rashida Jones.
God, snooze. Oh my gosh. But like they all kind of disappear. And I'm like, why did we bring that huge cast into this anyways? That was bizarre. And as funny as Ed Helms is, I was like, we already have a quasi Dwight like, someone to mess with Jim. I don't know. It was very weird. I felt like they were again duplicating with Rashida Jones and Pam, There's no fucking comparison, Jim. I don't understand why that was even an issue. But I don't think I like Jim. I don't know. I think he doesn't respect, say, an engagement for one thing.
Yeah, and like I've been thinking about this just as I've seen the episodes more and more. I'm like, he doesn't really try to like engage with the other people in the office. Like, he just goes there and f's around and goes home, and which is fine. Like, if that's what your job is, but yeah, like he's not like best friends with everyone there or anything like that.
I feel like The Office might be more realistic of how uh, a job or an office environment would actually work as opposed to Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec maybe kind of has cartoon characters in it. Like maybe these people are very extreme. Like Ben's the nerdy one, and Ron's this libertarian, doesn't give a shit one. And like I kind of get that, but I kind of like that. Like, yeah, everybody has their own personality, and even though it's really extreme, it really, really works. The Office is just it's kind of gray. It's kind of drab. I mean, and that's how it's filmed. That's how it's shot. So, um, I don't know. Do you guys think I should give it another try, or where do you land, Vince? Are you indifferent to it as well, would you say?
Yeah, it's really funny stuff. A lot of that stuff. But I didn't. I think I stopped after season three. I was like, I don't know. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Does it does it,
I've heard of episodes that like got really like that blew up, and they showed some scenes. I'm like, that does look funny, but I don't know. Eh.
does everybody understand or kind of get kind of yeah, does everybody understand why The Office kind of became this comfort food thing? Like I think I'm right about that, right? Like if you hear people talk about shows that they just turn on when they're want to fall asleep or just that comfort food thing, like The Office constantly comes up. I'm not wrong about that, right?
Yeah, definitely. That's probably, I don't know, either that or Friends is probably the
Yeah.
most watched reruns or on streaming or whatever these days.
I
Um,
don't know. I feel like I need to give it a try again. I just don't know when that's going to happen because there are so many other good shows and movies that I have not seen.
but I do remember hearing how bad the seasons were, and I actually watched some of that when after he left, after Carell left. So you're gonna have to deal with that, Matt. Just know that. I think you should just watch all the way to season three. John, would you agree where it kind of that wouldn't be such a bad place to stop?
I would almost say start with season three
Yeah.
Ooh,
and maybe
oh,
watch like three and four and five or something like that.
That's kind of the sense I get. Like I know what the show is doing. I know the characters. Just start at 3 and then go up until Steve Carell leaves, right?
Yeah, that'd be a good strategy.
We're in agreement.
yeah. Who's next, John?
I am indifferent to New Year's resolutions. I don't think I've ever made one. I think there's better ways to set goals that you're probably way more likely to achieve. Um, I'm not against them if people do them and they work for them. That's great. But I think it's just like if you're tying it to a time of year, then and you fall off, then you got another 12 months before you're gonna get back on that horse. And I think you should just I don't know. A thing I've heard that I resonates more with me is like just having like a theme for a year of like the kind of things you want to accomplish, and it's not like, okay, I have to do this thing every day, but just you just kind of think about as you're going through your days, like, well, like this is a year of eating healthy or something. So, I'm gonna just kind of have that in mind as I make my decisions. And yeah, it might not be perfect, but I'm just gonna try and do that. Or, this is a year of I don't know, learning a language or something. So if I have a free moment, I'm gonna try and do something towards that goal, or rather than like, oh, my New Year's resolution is to do this, and I'm gonna practice 10 minutes every day, and if I mess up, then it's over.
Yeah, I'm pretty indifferent as well to it, although I understand the sentiment of it. I understand the psychology. You're talking about psychology, like a new year, new beginning, everything that goes into that. I understand. I like me myself, I don't recall ever making a New Year's resolution as well. So pretty indifferent, but again, yeah, I mean, if it works for you, it works for you. I'm not gonna look down on anybody for saying they have a New Year's resolution, or maybe I would. Do I secretly kind of resent people that say that they're making a New Year's resolution? I would have to think about that some more. I don't know, Vince.
Um, okay, so if they were to just move New Year's to like maybe right when summer turns to fall, to me that's when the fucking a new year starts, because I'm just kind of going by like school standards and shit like that. It's the beginning of the semester. I'm like, I understand that, and the seasons change. It's so fucking weird that New Year's is like, it's cold. New Year, it's still cold, you know. And I think if they were to move it, let's write up a petition. Let's make some change here, people.
That's
Oh,
funny you say that, because I was in between our connections here. I was just reading a book, and there was a line in it that says, "It always puts me in mind of that F. Scott Fitzgerald line: life starts all over again when it gets crisp in the fall."
Oh, oh,
maybe it's a hot take, but it's a not so hot take, huh?
yeah.
I think you have a
Cold
valid point
take.
there. Cold take.
I
uh,
do love driving past the gym in January and seeing it full, and then just watching it dwindle over the following weeks.
that's great.
Again, you talk about like advertising and businesses and such. I wonder like how many more ads do gyms run when you hit December? Like, okay, we're gearing up for that New Year's, like, and then they hit that peak where people sign up at the beginning of January, and then they're raking in all that money. You get them on the 1 year subscription or whatever, and then they slowly dwindle down. Like I wonder if that's how all these businesses continue to operate. It's just advertising and hitting home New Year's resolutions.
When I did make a New Year's resolution to get in shape and stuff like that, I remember showing up at the gym in hopes that there would be gigantic people all over the place, but not really, not enough to make me feel comfortable working out in public anyways. So yeah, I was like, oh shit. Nope, still feel fat, inadequate, disgusting.
I love you, Vince.
Oh man. Uh wait, any New Year's resolutions? Have you guys made any? What's the quirkiest New Year's resolutions you guys have ever made?
Or ever heard of. Like again, I don't
Okay,
think I've
yeah.
ever made one, so I don't know that I've ever heard anything too strange. I'd have to put more thought into that. John, you got something?
No, I don't think I've ever made any either, um, nor heard of
I've
any that
I've heard like
impressive.
Jim Gaffigan's got a joke about he made a New Year's resolution to eat more pasta, or pasta every day or shit like that. But no, I'm drawing a blank.
Uh, it's great. Well, I think we've squeezed this tit dry, and we're ready to carry the pail home. Yeah.
I'm not helping. You can carry it.
I had an idea. Matt, you said you might have an idea for a segment, possibly.
Oh, stop. No, save it. We'll save it for
Save
another
it?
time.
Okay.
It's kind of it might be in poor taste, so I kind of want to think about it some more.
Right.
Future. That's a future.
All right.
That's something. That's something. John, you got anything? No.
I mean, just my t-shirt ideas. Merch.
Well, we're gonna sell the t-shirt you're wearing right now. Like that's the first one, right?
The disappearing t-shirt.
Yeah.
I wanted to do a Back to the Future
Oh,
t-shirt where obviously I'm Doc, Vince is Marty, and Matt, I don't know, you're like
Biff. I can be
Marty's
Biff.
girlfriend or
I'm be
something.
Marty's girlfriend. That's cool.
No, you just do the cover of Back to the Future 3 with Mary Steenburgen.
There you
Remember
go.
that? Yeah.
Vince,
That-
you got those skills. You know how to make that work.
Yes, I can click on a website.
So what like I've never done that before. Like what website do you use to make your
Shit, I don't
crazy
remember.
cool photos?
Deepfake.com. I don't know. It's something I don't know where it is.
Dot fake.
Deep balls deep fakes. Well, anyways, I did have a small idea, and I'll throw this out here. Possible segment: viewership mail, where listeners out there, if you guys have a love, a hate, or an indifference, send it, comment or something like that, and then you could see if any of us share that love or that hate or that indifference. That's my idea.
Man, they're gonna steal all our ideas. There's only so many loves and hates to go around.
Well, you know what? I love ending this show. So like, subscribe, comment. This was A Few Goldilock Bears with Vincent Cloud
And John Nemitz.
Matt Damon.